Hey guys, so I'm actually on schedule this time. This is going to come up on Wednesday. So I'm going to manage to keep this going on the days I promised I would. So I'm making progress. So today is Monday and we had the first European seminar this weekend. So we're in Holland. It was at CrossFit Unscared in Utrecht. I'm sure I'm butchering the name, so I'm going to say near Amsterdam because it's a lot easier for me. It's a beautiful facility with here, and it's 8,000 square feet, something like that. It was in an old train station, so it was actually really cool. It was a great seminar, very different in a way from the one I had in Torrance, like because I had one before and after the game, so the two in Torrance. There was I guess the cultural differences between Europe and the States, but there was actually a different feel to this one. Not necessarily better, but just different. It was very cool. So I was very excited to do this seminar. I had a lot of great questions, a lot of coaches coming. It was a lot of fun. And so I'll post a video about the particulars of that seminar, who came to see us and everything. But in all my rambling, since I'm entirely disorganized, I realized that I never truly explained what the seminar is and what it's for. So we're going to do, Charlotte, who was right there, was telling me we need to actually do a set of videos explaining how everything works. So today's video will be about what the seminar is, what it entails, what the Coaches Week is exactly, what it entails, and what's the ongoing vision for Strongfit, and why those two, the seminar and the Coaches Week, fit so importantly into all this. So let's start with the seminar. So what is the seminar? So it's 2 days, it's Saturday and Sunday. And the first day, Saturday, is more toward the theoretical aspect of Strongfit. Like what are the principles of Strongfit? What do I base everything I do on? Most people that come to my seminar know who I am. They've seen me on the Barbell Shrug podcast. They've seen my vlog and everything. So, but it's very important from the beginning to explain what Strongfit is. What I'm trying to build it for. And so this time I used the story. I thought it was actually a great way. I used the story of my athlete Ali Ludwig, right, who came to me 6 months ago, I think, actually in March. I remember exactly, it was in March because it was 2 months before the National of Olympic Weightlifting. She's the national level Olympic weightlifter, right? And she placed second last year, snatching 95 kilos. And she came to me because she got so bad. When she was snatching, she actually could not feel the bar in her left hand, right? Because of she cranked her neck so bad. She had all the numbness going through her hand, and when she snatched 95 kilos, she actually did it without feelings in her left hand, which is insane, but she's that strong. And so she came to me, and within 10 weeks she was able. That's a story I did the vlog with her before. Within 10 weeks she was about to go back to training and snatch. I think the first time was 85 or 87 kilos without issue. So very, very happy about all this, but. I'm truly happy she was able to go back to training, because right now she's on her toward her dream to go to the Olympics and everything. So the bad aspect of that story in a way is that how many of athletes did not help? How many of them out there have retired, are going to retire, are going to walk into that doctor's office and the guy is going to go like, yeah, you're done. Like how many of the athletes are going to walk into the doctor's office and leave a civilian, basically, where imagine what it does to your soul when you've trained your entire life for a goal and you walk into a doctor's office, he looks at you and he goes, you're done. And so, and I feel that sometimes, don't get me wrong, you are done. Like there's certain things that unfortunately Western medicine will not fix. But my experience has been there's a lot of athletes out there that I can fix. Because it's due to imbalances and not actual like physical trauma, like being hit in a football game or something like that. A lot of those issues are due to imbalances that just accumulate over time to such a degree that the athlete has to stop. I can fix those, and that's what really Strongfit is for. It's reverse engineer of all those problems, right? To a degree where we can start in a way further back enough that we can allow them to move forward without going through that recurring injury. That's what Strongfit is for. And so there has to be a very, very specific set of principles I base everything I do on. I don't know if you guys ever read Ralph Emerson. He's a great thinker, from the States, who said that there's a million methods out there, and then some, but very few principles. And a man who understands the principles can make up his own method, whereas a man who follows methods without understanding principles will always run into trouble. And it's, you would think he was talking about training, right? It's one of the most important quote that I use because that's something I take very much to heart in the sense of it defined a lot of what I do. It's excessively important to understand the principles and not to just get stuck with a method. That's a little bit what I see in the fitness industry is, and I'm guessing it's because in order to sell, you can't sell principles, so you have to sell methods, and that's what you see in the like losing weight in 6 weeks. We're gonna make you stronger in 4 weeks. The small off cycle, all that stuff that sell very well, but really, over the long run, that's not what it's about. I mean, so as a coach, I always try to tell you guys why I do what I do and how to do this, not so much what to do. What to do would be more toward the method where I try to explain to you the principles, so the why and the how always, right? And so we started with a story, which to me is always a powerful story. So Ali is a great athlete, and that story always resonates even with me when I say it. It's great because it always also refreshes my mind why I do what I do. So that's always, I thought it was a great way to start the seminar. Then from there we went into the talk about what is movement, right? So Greg Glassman in CrossFit, his greatest thing that he did was he defined fitness. If you remember before, he tried to actually define fitness with a set of rules and what it is. Before that, it was a word, but without really a definition attached to it. So that's a little bit what I try to do with movement, in the sense of it's never truly being defined, not with specific quantifiable rules, I would say. And so that's what I try to do with movement, because in order for me to reverse engineer a problem with movement, I first need to be able to define what it is. And so for the seminar, not to go into, because I don't want to go into too complicated things like hormesis and homeostasis and all that stuff, I start with the box, right? The box that is to explain movement. So movement is that box, and so the idea is going to be to balance the box correctly in order to have something stable for the athlete to build his athleticism on. And so that box has 4 corners, and so the first corner that I start with is always, what is a movement? So movement is a combination of 3 things. It's a load, a carry, or a hold, right? Any movement, any human movement is based on a combination of those 3. Out of that, so we got load, carry, and hold, right? Out of that, I'm going to go into the loading. What loading means, I don't know if you guys remember that Dan John, the great strength coach, he had a lecture about what loading patterns are, right? I would seriously suggest you go back and look at those videos. Dan John was a great inspiration. So loading patterns, we have the push, the pull, the push, the squat, and the hinge, right? 4 loading patterns. And so into this, I always go into how to create a loading pattern. Anytime you create tension, you create it through rotation. That's how you create torque. That's why I go through the seminar is, how to create torque. One hand doesn't move, one hand starts to turn. In order to create greater tension, you need to create torque. You create torque through rotation. So then I go through that into like a pull is a external rotation. Therefore, a push is an internal, squat external, hinge internal. And so I go into all the different, the 2 different rotation, internal or external, on the humerus or on the femur to explain the different loading patterns. I made other vlogs on that one. If you need me to be more precise, just go back and watch those. So that's the first part. Really the important setup for the seminar is to explain the internal rotation, because that is something that is never talked about into lifting. And so if you think about receiving a catch, that has to be internal rotation. Anything that is hinging, that's internal rotation. So right away that makes people question the entire weekend, because they go, wait, what? I've been taught differently. So based on that, right, I will explain how I come to create the template that I created, the openers and all that stuff. So Saturday is more toward the theory, and Sunday is going to be the application toward coaching, right? So it's 2 different days because I have so many principles to list and to explain, which is really my way of thinking about it. So when I explain what I think mobility is, all the 4th corner of the box for the planes of movement, all that stuff. And so that, because those are the principles I'm going to use in order to create, that I used in order to create the openers, in order to create the template that I have, all that stuff. And Sunday is going to be like, how do I apply all those principles directly into coaching, right? So then I'll give you, that's where I have the pyramids that I use. Those are more a way to apply the principles to coaching, right? So I do that more on Sundays. As you can tell, it's a lot to cover in 2 days. 2 days probably not enough. It's not really feasible, but I would love to do it like a 3-day seminar. But so we cover, as I was saying, it's really an overview of the principles for Strongfit, right? So I try to give as much information like this in 2 days, but there are certain things, unfortunately, where I can't go into details the way I would like, because it's just not feasible in such a group setting in 2 days. And so, and that's why we created a Coaches Week, really. I love Coaches Week. I started with Dan, actually, out of New York, which is not necessarily something I thought I would do, because I didn't want to have a creep following me around for 5 days in my gym. That's kind of weird. I actually had people asking me to come to shadow me for a month. That's weird. They were like, yeah, can I just come and hang out with you for a month at your gym, and then I just follow you everywhere you go, and I can just mop the floor? And I was like, no, that's just too weird, man, sorry. But now actually it's really working really well. I've done, how many Coaches Week have I done? I've done 5 or 6, right? Five of them. And so about like 20 people. That work really well, because I can go into so much detail in Coaches Week that I'll never touch in the seminar. And so I've been very, very happy about that, because I feel I can actually give all that information. And so that actually made me very happy. So that started as an accident in a way with Dan, and then he moved on from there. And at the end, I'm very, very happy it happened. So thank you, Dan. You are weird, but thank you for forcing me to do this. And so all the specific details. So which ones? Well, first of all, at the seminar, the first thing I talk about is that rotation, internal rotation on the hinge, internal rotation on catching the snatch, all the stuff that basically we don't talk about really in lifting, as we talk to only external rotation. So I want to talk about internal rotation. So I usually take at least 1 day just to go over that. So first in the Coaches Week, I always give like a rundown again about the principles of Strongfit. How do I apply the box for movement, all that stuff, just to refresh people's memory. And then out of that, I start right away into the rotation. So I'll take the first day and go over internal rotation. So first, the coaches, right, that are also athletes usually, are gonna have to, we're gonna go over the deadlift, right? So first the stiff leg deadlift, so they can feel how strong the internal rotation is for hinging movement, right? So we'll go over the stiff leg. Off of that, we'll go to the applications into deadlift and how it changes your form. I do not want to change technique. Like for example, on the snatch, I always say you need to internally rotate, but that doesn't change the fact that you have to show your lats in order to, so I don't really want to change technique, but the fact is internal rotation allow you to have a better position on a deadlift almost naturally. So we go over that, how to apply it to conventional deadlift, how to apply it to sumo deadlift, right? And of course, after that, we go over how do we spot faulty internal rotation on a deadlift, when do you see them giving up and everything. And usually in those things, either I take an athlete from the gym or I do an assessment of someone in front of the coaches for them to be able to see how I spot problems and how I correct them and things like that. So it allows me to give way more details, right? And so that's usually the first day. One of those days will be toward the squat, same idea, toward the press. And so I can spread all that stuff per day. Usually it's from like 9 to 2. So that gives me about 5 hours per day where I can go into all those details. I get to go over the movements, so the application of rotation toward deadlift, from all the forms of squat, all the form of pressing. And then the other big part, so all the applications, I get also to go over all the openers. Because the openers, really, what are those? Those are movements that are there to teach you to either internally rotate or externally rotate. That's really what the openers were for. It's to create mobility, right? So range of motion while maintaining torque, either in internal or external rotation. So it's to teach you internal or external rotation at the end of the range of motion, which then increases mobility, right? And so that's why I created the openers. So then I go through why the openers, how, and how to apply them, how to do them properly first, how to spot mistakes on the openers, and how to apply them. And depending on where the athlete's problems are, athletes or normal person, whatever problems are, then how to apply the openers. And that's the second part that is so important about Coaches Week, is we get to talk about assessment. How do I assess problems that I see? Because most of the people that come to see me are usually messed up somewhere. They've basically went to everybody before me. They went to the chiropractor, they went to the physiotherapist, then they went to the acupuncture. If that doesn't work, they go to the voodoo guys that has bigger needles, the painkillers, you name it. Every single thing they can think of, they're gonna try. It doesn't work, then they come to me. And so I have very, very specific assessment that are depending on the types of injuries and everything that I use. And I'm able to show those to the coaches, but in great details. That is something I cannot do in a seminar. I would need to do like 3 assessments that would take basically like 3/4 of the day. It's just, I can't do that in a seminar. So the Coaches Week allow me to go really into the application of the system directly into an assessment and how to use it on people and how to reverse engineer issues from there. So that's why I like the Coaches Week so much, because it really allows me to go into the details and to really show you what I do. So I can teach you how to do it yourself with your people at home, because I can't fix your people. The only person who can is you, right? So I want to show you how to do that. So I need the seminar, first of all, to spread the message and to show all those coaches how to do certain things. And the Coaches Week allow me to take, so the seminar is great too, because I can explain the overall of my system, and the Coaches Week allows me to go into more detail, and I don't have to spend too much time explaining the system, because I already explained it at the seminar where that you have to do first in order to go into Coaches Week. So but the Coaches Week really is the stuff where I'm the happiest, because I get to show my assessment to coaches directly to make sure they do a good job at home. So that's been going on really, really well, and we have many more planned. Actually, what we're going to do now, that we're going to set up things, we're going to seminar, and we're going to have a Coaches Week that follow the seminar from there, basically. So it's a small number of people. Usually it's 5, 6. It'll be 8 maximum. I think we'll try to stay around 6. We'll have certain coaches from the seminar that will be able to shadow me the rest of the week. So we'll stay 1 week at least at a location. Saturday, Sunday will be seminar. Monday through Friday will be the Coaches Week, right? And so we do that in many locations this year. Like right now we're in Europe. So we were near Amsterdam. Right now we're going to CrossFit Nuremberg tomorrow for this week. From there we're going to Portugal in Sintra at CrossFit 2725. Then we're going to England for CrossFit Bath, then CrossFit Thames, because it seems in England you say Thames, you don't say Thames, as Charlotte over there keeps telling me. They're gonna have to explain to me why British people use a TH and say Thames and not Thames. Whatever. And they make fun of me for having a weird accent. Just saying. Then from there we go to Northern Ireland, CrossFit Belfast. Then we go to CrossFit Grass in Austria. So we have a lot of things planned. And I know everybody's asking. So from there I'm going back to San Diego. And then after that we're going to the East Coast, right, of the United States. We're going to go to CrossFit Milford in January. From there we're going to come back to Europe to do a seminar in Belgium, because it seems my French-speaking friends need help, because none of them want to speak English. So we're going to help toward doing translations and things like that. So I'm actually going to do the entire thing in French. It's going to be awesome. I have no idea how to say most of training words in French. So it's going to be the ugliest Franglish seminar ever. But I guess I'm going to have to brush up on my French before I go there. Like, I have no idea how you say snatch in French. Arraché. Right. That's what they say. They say arraché. One at a time. I'm going to get this one at a time. And so we're going to do a seminar on a Coaches Week in Belgium. I'll do a Coaches Week here near Amsterdam again. And from there, we're going to Australia. After Australia, we've been talking about going toward Asia, I believe. You said Singapore, Charlotte? Singapore, Singapore. Then we go Hong Kong and then Dubai. I want to see Dubai. So I've been telling everybody we need to go to Dubai. So, and then after that, we got Canada somewhere. Shit, don't we have Canada somewhere too? Yeah, somewhere in there. The world is a big place. I'm going to get there. I just don't know exactly the order. Just email at info@strongfit.com and then we'll figure out where we are, because honestly, I have no idea. I will on Charlotte. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. So, but that's why for the seminar and the Coaches Week. And that's where we're going to move forward. So what is forward for Strongfit? So that's a little bit the setup right now of the seminar and the Coaches Week is we want to use this to do some kind of a, it's not an accreditation system because accreditation requires some weird stuff, right, with universities. So it's, I guess it's going to be a, what do you call that? It's based on a certification. Yeah, it's going to be a Strongfit certification. So we want to use the seminar as the base for that. So you would have to do a seminar. From there, we will move to the Coaches Week, right? We would ask you for case studies after that. All this is to basically put the work in and prove that you understand the system. Then after that, we're going to have, after the case studies, we're going to have probably 2 more Coaches Week. But each Coaches Week is going to have like a different idea within. Like at first is to explain all the assessment and stuff like that. But it's going to take you further and further into the Strongfit system so that eventually you'll have a test that will allow you to get the certification for Strongfit. And from there, we can talk about, you know, you can be a Strongfit coach because we're trying to build a team now because we're trying to move the movement forward. But I won't lie, this is going to take time. You're going to have to study, you're going to have to earn it, it's going to cost you time, it's going to cost you money, you're going to have to travel because I'm all over the place. You're going to have to earn it. You guys have to understand, every door has been closed in my face for 6 years straight. And until I got onto the barbell shrug, actually, because Charlotte pushed everybody to get me on. But before that, I had basically every door slammed in my face because people didn't want to hear about isolation. They didn't want to hear about reverse engineering of problems. And so we all have to earn our positions, right? It's going to be the same thing for this. You're going to have to put in the work, put in the money, put in all this to move forward, just like I did, just like we all did, right? But the idea is to create all that, to have a system to lead to a certification of quality, to make sure that if you're a Strongfit coach, you can assess problems, you can fix, you know, at least, let's say, the major ones, and we can move from there to our Strongfit classes at your gyms and things like that. Okay, so that's the ongoing vision. How we're gonna get there? We're working on it. That's for sure. I'm sure things will change in the next 2 years, but the core of Strongfit will not. The vision of Strongfit will never change. The idea is to create a certain quality of the coaches out there so they can you know, assess problem in athletes and do what I did, which is make sure that an entire generation of athletes will not be ruined just because the only thing we have right now is either PT or going back to normal training and nobody in between that can help. As a human race, we can do better than this. We do not have to be stuck with coaches that tells you, well, when it breaks, you go see a PT. If it's not broken, just keep going. That is too common of a thing that I hear, and that's just plain not good enough. We can do better than this, right? But I'm tired to hear coaches saying, well, is it broken? No, then go back to play. No, because then it's gonna break. We all know it's gonna break. And that idea that we just have to wait until it breaks and then you go see the PT, to me is the most insane thing ever. There are ways to fix most of those problems out there. We just have to, you know, create the system and everything. And I know there's a lot of coaches out there that see the same thing that I see, that need to fill the gap between PT and performance training. We need people to fill that gap, but there's absolutely no structure right now for them. I get emails from all you guys all the time, so I know a lot of you want to do this. So what I want to do is to create the structure for all of us to be able to fill that gap, again, between PT and performance training. There's a lot of us out there. The one thing is we're just not in touch with each other, so we can't build the data, you know, accumulation that we need. We just don't have the structure. And so the goal of Strongfit right now is to build that structure. So for the next year or two, it's going to require a lot of seminars and Coaches Week for me as I travel the world in order to build that network of coaches and quality coaches that we need. But when this gets going, we'll have a structure going through the websites, through all that, and then we'll be able to make a dent. And it's all that matters. Okay, so all that video was to explain a little bit where we are with Strongfit right now, and what we try to accomplish. And as things change all the time, you have no idea right now. So as we get better and we do more, I'll keep updating those videos to explain exactly where we stand. Okay? Thank you guys. See you soon.